Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to The Geek Cause. We are here for another week to do another amazing podcast that everyone asked for.
We lasted another 7 days.
It's really surprising, isn't it?
I'm surprised.
I'm
genuinely shook that we made it this far.
We're saying that now, and then all of a sudden we're gonna get to like episode 100 and be like,
wait.
how did we make it this far?
Yeah.
When the whole time we were talking about how we would never make it to the first month.
That's true. It's gonna be weird. If we live that long.
If we live to episode 100?
Yeah.
That's only in 100 weeks.
Yeah, it's like...
Wait, 98 weeks?
98, yeah.
98 weeks, that's not bad. I've lived 98 weeks at least. I think I can make it at least another 98. Right? How many weeks? Over 100. I'm sure I've lived.
Definitely over 100.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Don't know if I'd give you 200 though.
No, definitely not 200 weeks. Anyways, everybody, so glad to be talking to you again. We have a lot of great topics to talk about today, some of which will make you want to scratch your eyes out of frustration.
Are you going to say that line every week?
That we have a lot of great topics.
We have a lot of great topics this week.
Every week we'll have a lot of great topics.
Until we don't.
And then the week that we don't have a lot of great topics...
We'll have a great special episode.
This is a very special, great episode.
Yeah. If we ever have to make merch, there you go.
We have a great episode this week. great topics this week. That's all the shirt is going to say. We have a lot of great topics this week. No, we got some more controversy. Actually, enough controversy that you might as well just call this the Controversy Podcast. Are you judging me for throwing my socks on the ground?
You literally, as you were talking, without like missing a beat, slowly. Not even quick, slowly took your socks off and then like flipped them away against the wall.
I'm a talented man. So this week it's we got some more info on G2A. Everyone's super excited to hear about how shitty of a company they are. I know you are. Shenmue 3 and the Epic Game Store refunds.
It's a pretty epic topic.
Are people ready for next-gen consoles? Me and Kyle don't think so. Crunching and gaming, sequels that are not being made for Cyberpunk, but we'll talk about what is happening there. Bruce Campbell announcing the Evil Dead game. Who knows if he was actually supposed to do that?
Yeah, he probably wasn't.
No,
the studio's probably rolling around right now going, God
broke some
damn
sort of
it, Bruce!
And then... any other small topics that we might have to bring in? One of them that I'm excited for, potentially, Magic Arena. Just talking about Magic a little bit. I love Magic. Kyle is indifferent about it, but that'll soon change.
I'm not indifferent, I'm just inexperienced.
You thought that it was spelled with a K at the end.
It's another type of magic.
Yeah, what kind?
I don't know. I remember seeing magic spelled with a K before.
That's like the old school way of spelling magic.
And when I say magic with a K, I don't mean replacing the C.
Oh, you mean like it starts with a K?
It's
magic.
It's M-A-K-I-C.
Magic. Magic. Okay. I actually hate you. How are you doing this week though, Kyle? Tell me something exciting about this week.
That's very difficult. If you just asked me about my week, I could talk about it.
Tell me how your week was.
Saying it's exciting is...
How was your week?
It was alright.
What'd you do?
I slept a lot.
You are really just coming up with the best content, aren't you?
I know, right? I needed to recover after, like, the jump to starting a podcast.
Oh, yeah? Did you?
Yeah.
It's just such a strain on your body.
Because it started, like, it was, like, that first weekend of, like, work. And then it was Monday. Then Tuesday. And then Wednesday. And my body was like, oh, Wednesday, we'll be done. No, we had to come back on Thursday.
I forgot about that. It was pretty much a full week of working on the podcast, guys. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
A week straight of doing stuff, which is fine. We were getting started. That's what happens. You know?
It just shows our dedication to it.
Yeah, that's what you could call it.
And then there was the barbecue for 4th of July.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
And then I got some beautiful sunburn.
Yeah, you did get.
That was.
I got a sunburn too, but
I'm pretty scald.
I'm crispy now.
You're crispy.
Nice and crispy
You're
tan.
crispy.
Yeah.
See, I don't when I burn, I don't get color.
Yeah.
I burn and then the skin just comes off, and I'm pale again underneath.
That's how most people are.
I'm like a snake.
I'm special. Yeah, you're a snake. You're slippery, sneaky, and you have no legs or arms.
Yeah, I'm just a torso with a head.
That's all it's talking right now.
Right, I seen something that was that snakes are just tails with a face.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
So true.
It is.
So Cody, what about your week? Please tell me it's been more exciting than mine.
Yeah, so no.
And you were giving out to me.
Obviously, we did, all that work on the podcast. I spent my time, editing that and getting that ready to go, making sure, posting to social media and stuff like that, just trying to promote ourselves a little bit, get out there, ask questions, talking to a lot of people. I did a lot of networking after our first episode. I don't know if I...
Yeah, so you went much casted abroad net, whereas I went, direct.
Well, I was messaging a couple.
When my networking, I was singling people out. I was pointing across the room you.
I did that too. I was messaging people and I was asking, if they wanted to help contribute or if they wanted to come on for a podcast episode. Just kind of getting out there, other content creators, people that already have stuff going on. A few of them responded and then a few of them just ignored me. That's fine. Oh, yeah. It happens. People doing their own thing. Maybe they skip by the message, or maybe they just don't like what I'm doing. It's fine.
Maybe they just don't like you.
That's also a very, very strong possibility. But other than that, I've just been kind of hanging out. I've been watching Stranger Things.
Oh, yes.
If Kyle watches it by next week, maybe we can have a little special Stranger Things podcast or something.
I'm gonna binge it all tonight, so I am.
Oh, well, we didn't do that because we wanted to actually enjoy it, but over a period of time.
I enjoy it that way.
Some people do.
I like to get the cohesive story all in one go.
So it's like you're watching a big movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's a big 12-hour long movie.
I don't know if it's 12 hours. Each episode is pretty long though, isn't it?
Yeah, I said.
Wait, how many episodes are in the season?
I actually don't know.
I thought it was only 8 or 9.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I believe
But then
so.
you're looking at 40 minutes, 50 minutes?
40
40
or 50 minutes.
I can't tell if you're saying 40 or trying to make a raindrop sound.
Raindrop sound?
Say it quick again. 40.
That doesn't sound
water. Dripping into water.
I think we need to just go into the topics.
Before we do, let me just lubricate my lungs with my Gamer Girl bathwater.
Alright. Yeah. Ooh, Gamer Girl bathwater. Ooh. I bet that costed you a pretty penny, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about that Gamer Girl bathwater before we start jumping to the actual topics?
Make my brain hurt.
It make my brain hurt.
It make my brain hurt.
It's interesting.
Me no like.
Me no like. It's kind of exactly what the internet has devolved into, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure all of it is pretty much for the meme of it, but it's still really painful to see some people waste their time and their money
on bathwater.
On Gamer Girl bathwater.
I'm more curious about what some people are doing with it. I know some
people someone vaped it. someone bought her bathwater and then vaped it.
Okay, that's really pretty funny.
That's what you want to see.
That's next level memes.
That's something that could only spawn from our generation, and I appreciate it. I don't know if I like it, but I appreciate it.
You're proud but disgusted.
That's yes, just like my mom is of me.
Yeah, same. So we get along so well.
Speaking of disgust, so did you remember about our topic last week of G2A?
No, I was blind drunk.
Yeah, you're Irish, I get it. But in case you aren't familiar with the story, G2A basically was paying ad space from Google to just show their website on top of the page for some indie games.
Oh.
And what that allowed was people to buy these indie keys, these indie game keys from G2A, or from these resellers that are on there. And the indie developers don't see any money from it because it's either stolen keys or keys that they got for free, but they just ended up taking the free keys and not using it and selling it instead, which is detrimental to the indie games economy, because the whole point of free keys is to show publicity to make people want to buy it.
They're like called review keys and promotion keys for a reason.
Exactly. Well, because of this, they had kind of some bad negative press, as they should.
Some.
Right? It started off as, just people were pretty pissed about it, but overall people were like, whatever, G2A. Like, it's them. They're kind of...
They've always been shitty, really.
They've always been a little sneaky, whatever. Not that big of a deal. Well, come into the news to find out that off of a Twitter post by a Mr. Thomas Faust, who I'm assuming is some sort of, works for some sort of reporting company or something like that. And G2A contacted him and pretty much asked him to post an article on his site saying about how G2A isn't that bad and how it's not possible to steal keys or sell not real keys. What does it say? We have I'm going to just give you exactly what G2A has sent. At the moment, we are trying to improve our brand awareness and public image, especially among the indie and smaller game developers. Unfortunately, the majority of public does not understand either our business model or how we try to make sure our customers can safely purchase digital products. We want to make sure people understand we do everything we can to support gaming community, and that we introduce every possible method to assure every side is satisfied. We have written So this is coming straight from G2A.
From the horse's mouth.
We have written an unbiased article. How can you do that when it's about you? Okay? It's something about what you do, at least. An unbiased article about how selling stolen keys on gaming marketplaces is pretty much impossible. And we want to publish it on your website without being marked as sponsored or marked as associated with G2A. It is a transparent and just review of the problem of the stolen keys reselling. Below, I attach an expert of the article. If you want the full article, just let me know. So,
that is fantastic.
Explain to me, Kyle, how someone can post an article that you've written yourself, dealing with things that you deal with, trying to make it seem like you're not that bad of what you're doing and that it's practically impossible to do, and it not be biased or have it's transparent and it's just, but you're not being transparent and just by not showing it marked as sponsored or marked as association with G2A.
I don't think it is possible. I think you just kind of sound like a shithead if you ask for that, really. I think it's kind of digging your own grave. Going, hey, look, we want to post this, right? It's totally unbiased. We wrote it, though. I'm going to post it. Don't want people to know that it was us that wrote it or posted it. Okay? Just because we did this thing, right? And it totally isn't bad. It isn't bad whatsoever. But we just kind of want to put this out here so people know it isn't bad.
It makes absolutely no sense. And the way that G2A tried to cover this up was by saying that the person who sent this email wasn't authorized to do so, even though he sent it to 9 other reporting agencies asking the same thing, and that they will handle him accordingly, whoever, worked for G2A that did this. And
do they have some kind of internal affairs department that'll handle it?
The only thing that keeps happening by G2A is they keep, like you said, digging their own grave, because then they're just constantly tweeting. If you look deeper into what they're doing, they're just constantly tweeting saying how it's impossible to resell these things. It's impossible to steal these things. It's impossible to generate our own keys. Only the creator can actually generate a working key. And, they're not wrong in some sense, except for the fact that when you are getting these review copies that are sent out, or you're getting these free giveaway keys for certain people, certain people that win certain events, and then they can sell it on G2A, which is a marketplace that, anybody can pretty much sign up for and sell stuff for. not only is the indie developer not getting paid for that, but they're also getting their trust ruined by these reviewers or these bots that are helping win competitions.
When you think about it that way, it's actually hurting a lot more people than just the developer themselves. Because the developer might go, okay, we're going to give this person 10 keys to give away over the next month in giveaways.
Right, to their users that read their things or do whatever.
And then they find out that those 10 keys have all been swiped up by bot accounts owned by G2A. They'll go, well, why should we give this person keys again if we know that they're just going to be ended up giving them away to bots that are...
Yeah, why give away review copies? Why give away free giveaways?
Why should we do it if they're all just going to go to G2A anyways?
And they're going to get paid for it. And this spawned the sentiment of just pirate our games instead of buying from G2A because we don't see the money anyways. Well, this right here shows the terrible practice that G2A is allowing to happen. On a AAA game, fine.
AAA game is different.
They're going to make their money back regardless because millions of people are pretty much going to buy that game and play it.
It's like when people use certain brands or steal certain things off massive companies to make their smaller thing. Maybe get picked up by algorithms or what's the word I'm looking for? Entice people in. Just
right.
Because they see this thing and they go, oh, that's familiar. I'll look at this thing then. That's fine. You kind of expect it, really. But when you're taking from the smaller people, you just come across as a dickhead.
That's exactly.
It's I could steal from rich people, but no. I'm going to steal from the poor.
Especially when you're G2A and you're making tons of money by getting a cut of the profit from what's being sold. You're getting all the ad revenue from holding tons of ads on their... If you've never been on their website, you can go on their website and see there's tons of ad space being used.
Ridiculous amount of ads. On the website themselves is very bare bones.
You pay for... You can pay to have them protect it, but all that means is that if there's an issue that they feel like they can handle, they'll just either refund your money back or give you because you don't get your money back if you don't get it guaranteed. Yeah, you have to pay that little bit extra to be able to get your money back. So guess what? You might get your money back, but you paid $2, $3, $5, euros, whatever. When you get your money back, do you get the total back or do you just get the cost of the key back? If I pay for the guarantee, do I get the guaranteed money back as well? You only get the cost of the key, the key, and the taxes or the VAT on it. So it's great, you pay a little extra, and if it doesn't work out, we'll refund you, but not the little extra you paid to make sure it'll be safe. Exactly, and it's funny because you can tell that everything's shady about this because for one, wherever G2A is situated, it has that VAT cost. Yeah. Even if you're in the US, you don't pay VAT for something unless you're obviously buying from, a certain country that has to follow those laws, right? Right. But when you're buying from G2A, you have to pay that additional cost on there. So obviously, G2A is situated in an area where they can live outside the boundaries of law by not having to show certain things somewhere in a European country where they have to have these taxes paid, but they also don't have to worry about, the legality of selling these keys and stuff like that. They don't have to worry about, fraud guys or auditors coming in and being wait a second. Exactly. And the funny thing is when they're talking about this, they try to say, one of their excuses was, oh, it's even though you can buy Steam games, you can buy games off of Steam, you can't actually get the key from them. As if there's, first of all, not programs that allow you to see the key that's generated into your Steam account. I guarantee there is. But let's just say, fine, they're right on that, and they're not doing that. Some of the ways that you can buy games on G2A, they gift you the game on Steam. Yeah. You don't need to have a key to do that. You just gift the game. If it's sitting inside of your thing and you can gift it, you gift it to them. It's the same idea. It's if I buy a game, I wrap it up in Christmas paper and I give it to you for Christmas. Yes. Plus, there's other platforms that use these and they sell it for a bunch of different platforms. I mean, you can buy some games for different consoles and stuff like that as well. It's possible. long story short, they're digging themselves a grave by being more and more shitty.
Yeah.
And even if this was a rogue employee that just went ahead and decided to try to do this, they should have just owned up to their mistake and said, all right, we maybe told him that he needs to look into a way to try and fix our public image, and this wasn't the right way. That's our fault, and we apologize. Instead of saying, oh, it's just a rogue employee who had nothing to do with anything, and we just decided...
Yeah, like, it's like, oh,
you think,
no, he's just some, like, random dude in the office.
Like, one who... And what was this guy? Wasn't he supposed to be, like, I
don't even know.
The head of their marketing department or something like that? Okay. I'm pretty sure that the head of the marketing department is given enough leeway and understanding to know that, like, they have to report everything back that's going to be happening.
I don't think a head of marketing can exactly go rogue to that extent.
He's not going to want to.
That there's someone above him and below him that is keeping watch of what he's doing.
They should have just owned up to their mistake and admitted that they're doing shitty things to these indie developers and take the games off. We were looking through some of the stuff, and one indie developer actually said, like, was saying how his game was on there and that he wanted taken off because he knows for a fact that it was review copies. And G2A said, well, if you would have contacted us and went through the proper channels.
And he just straight up outed them by posting
an email from like
October last year.
Yes, asking for them to take it off that he got no reply on, and they just said that they would review it. And they ended up finally dealing with it after having being publicly outed for it.
Yeah, but it's funny because he tweeted at them saying that, that he wanted the game taken down, that he asked for it before. And, like, the first tweet they replied with was like, oh, can we move this to DMs? So somewhere more private. Not that we're hiding anything.
You can post everything afterwards. And it's because they don't want to post it on Twitter directly from their account talking about it.
Because then everyone who's following them will see.
Exactly. And the last thing that you want to see from your public business account is you having that sort of altercation where everyone... Whereas if someone just posted an image or screenshots, people would have to be following that guy, and they don't care about that.
Yeah. So they'd have to be following that story, and it'd probably just be brushed over.
Exactly.
Because he's just a small indie developer who's going to give a crap about what he's saying.
Final thoughts?
G2A, they just need to stop at this point.
Just get rid of indie games on your website. How about that, at least?
Yeah, just drop indie games. Keep it to AAA games or just high-budget games. Even if they're indie developers, but are given, that, pay bump. There's indie developers out there that Microsoft give funding to.
Or if it's a game that's less than $15 already... Yeah,
it should have, like a pay limit.
Then don't let people sell $15 games for $12.49, for $10... Don't let them sell these games that, obviously, if they're being sold for that little, probably don't have a lot of budget to them anyways, because they're not going to it's not going to be a long enough game or a big enough game that they're going to have
when it's clearly a passion piece.
Exactly.
When you can see that they've just made it because, they really, really want to, and they probably had, Kickstarters made and had fans funding them and put their blood, sweat, and tears over it, and the wife took the kids.
And the wife took the kids.
Losing the house, but god damn it, my isometric, bullet hell game is finally coming out. I'm finally going to make money off it.
And now G2A is making the money for it instead of me, because I gave away 10 keys to people I thought would need it, and then they sold it all for money that they shouldn't have, and now people are realizing they can just buy it off of G2A.
And I've lost
for $1 cheaper.
And I don't know what I'm going to do. I really need help, guys.
You sound like you...
Please.
This is your life.
It's turned from talking about some random indie developer, talking about me. That I'm losing my house. Even though I can't actually lose my house. Because I don't pay for my house. I still live at home. So, just ignore that detail.
Shut up,
Kyle. Just pretend that I can have these financial difficulties. I need to relate to the audience here.
You have some sort of financial.
I need to relate.
You
to
have some
audience.
difficulties right now. I don't know if it's all financial. It's definitely the fact that you just keep going on and rambling on. It's something.
Because I can't help it. I really can't. I have to drag jokes out for way too long. You gotta get past
uncomfortably
the point.
long. Yeah.
You gotta make the joke, drag it out, gets uncomfortable, but then you hit that sweet spot at the end where it kind of gets funny again.
and then I get uncomfortable editing it, and I just cut it all out.
You're like,
so that way I don't
and then I listen back to it, I'm like, God damn it, where's my 20-minute bit gone?
So I had to go listen to a 20-minute bit, and I had to decide that it's too uncomfortable to leave in, and then I cut it out, and everybody loses.
Yes. But anyways, speaking of, passion pieces.
And everybody losing.
And everyone losing their money because you gave a lot of money to it. You got Shenmue 3, the Epic Store Tribocle.
Tribocle?
Tribocle? Is that the correct word?
Debacle?
Debacle. That's probably the right word.
What's three bockles together? Tribocle? What is
I'm gonna make that a thing. Three of them together.
The Epic Store's debacle, yeah.
Tribocle because it's 3 times as bad.
Oh.
See?
Please. Elaborate.
I'm a genius. So yeah, pretty much in recent days, it's been confirmed that Shenmue 3 is going to be an Epic Store exclusive.
Which was not announced
was not the plan
on the Kickstarter.
because it wasn't announced on the Kickstarter. It was never announced at all. All the promotions of the game, any trailers or footage that released, all had the Steam tag. There was a Steam page for the game. Looking at it, it was going to be on Steam.
You had 100% pretty much guarantee it was going to be on Steam, and people bought the game.
And they bought it and they funded it as well. It reached up to something like $7.1 million.
Yeah, believing that it was going to be on Steam.
Then CEO Tim Sweeney comes along and is like, lol, JK, it's on the Epic Store now. Soz. And everyone kind of lost their shit over it. But Tim Sweeney tried to pull it back by saying that Epic Store is going to cover all refunds for people who don't want to play it on Epic Store. That if you bought it with the intent of playing it on Steam and don't want to use the Epic Store whatsoever, Epic Games will just straight up refund you. And his reasoning for that is because he doesn't want YSNet. You probably should have Googled what it is.
It just says YSNet.
It's just YSNet.
That's just what it is.
I guess just YSNet. Pretty much said that he just wants them to refund it because he wants to keep all the money that was donated towards developing the game. So
that way the developer itself isn't
losing out.
Yeah, which is nice.
Good.
That's cool.
Because that's kind of like Todd Sweeney.
Todd Sweeney. Todd Sweeney.
I was wondering why my head was screaming, say Todd, say Todd, say Todd. Tim Sweeney. He's all about, pro development and pro games and stuff like that. He doesn't really care about turning the profit himself.
No, they have they do, but they
care about it to an extent, but for this it's very much amazing tweet that he put out. What was it? It was developmentation over taxation.
Yeah. I mean it's cool. We'll give him that. And Epic Games Store has been doing a good job of trying to be good to the developers and trying to
be the good guys in the industry.
Be the good guys in a certain sense, but to do that, they aren't afraid to make it so everything is on their platform, so you have to use it.
Yeah, it's people are giving them crap about it, but really it's kind of the only way they could do it. When you're creating a platform to combat Steam, which has been around for God knows how many years now. At least
13 years.
13 years, with 13 years worth of users. And you're creating a platform now in 2019 to compete with them.
It's difficult, yeah.
You're not going to be able to get that pull just by building your site up, because you look at the Epic Games Store, they don't have a lot of features that Steam does. You can't track your games, progress and achievements.
Which makes sense why people are upset about stuff being on there. I get that.
Exactly. But the only way Epic could go about it is by making exclusives. It's the only way they could make people use their platform.
It's funny because I don't hate Epic for doing this, but I do think for doing all these things with obtaining these, but I do think it can be seen as a little underhanded when you're saying that the goal is to make developers get a bigger split, but when you're going up to people and you're offering them tons of money to just make sure it's exclusive after things have already been announced, I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people are more pissed off a lot of time is because
there was no talk about it before, and then suddenly Sweeney Todd came in with all his money and threw it at them, and suddenly it's no longer on Steam.
they're buying. Yeah, they're paying off to get things after they've already been announced to be obtained in a different way.
Yeah,
and that's a bad practice. But for the the exclusivity deals that they're getting, I don't think games. Let me first point out, I don't think that games should be exclusive. I think that's a bad practice in today's society. I'm sorry, we don't need 18 different game hardwares and companies trying to vie for it. Just start breaking down and make one huge conglomerate or work together in some way.
It's like at the moment, I think the only really exclusive platforms are PlayStation and obviously PC games that consoles can't run, but that's going to be gone come next generation anyways, so that won't matter, so it'll just be PlayStation. But now Epic Store is coming in with exclusives,
so it makes you really think that part of it sucks, but at the same time I enjoy the developer split. I enjoy that bit of it. I just think if you're going to do exclusivity, don't wait until it's already been announced that it'll be on different platforms and then make people change their mind. You're offering them a great deal, and I understand why people are taking it. I'm not mad at any of the developers or the companies that take this deal.
Oh god, no.
I understand it. And
especially for Shenmue, which has been almost completely crowdfunded.
All the crybabies that constantly, are shitting on the developers for taking this money. I'm sorry, it's not called selling out. It's called needing the funding, because
it's business. You need to keep your company afloat. If you want to make these games, you need money.
Do you want another game? Do you want the game to come out good? Then you need the funding to be there. I know that there's been games out there that people have released that are amazing, that were made by one person, and he spent all of his life work on it, making it amazing, and he had $5 to his name. But that's not how the world works. The world doesn't work like that, and you should be happy that these developers are getting money to be able to work on this. The thing that you should not be happy about, obviously, is Epic Game Stores obtaining these exclusivity deals that lock other people out of being able to play on whatever platform they want to, and also take away from what they already said that it was going to be on. Yeah. That part, that's not good. And I'll agree with that 100%. Shame on you, Epic, for making people think, message these people with these offers way ahead of time. I get it that sometimes people assume they know what the platforms are going to be putting it on. Yeah. I get that, and they'll say it ahead of time. But there's a difference between someone having one ad that might have said Steam, and then it ends up getting bought for exclusivity with Epics, and it's a different thing to say when
everything,
all the promotion is talking about how it'll be on all these platforms.
Every poster that's released, every trailer that's released, all had the Steam tag on it.
And then you go, no, we need it exclusive. We need it exclusive.
That was a mistake. That was a mess up on their behalf. But
you could also,
unlike a lot of people out there these days, they've owned the mistake. Yes. Tim Sweeney has been on Twitter about this a lot, and he's been saying that, yes.
He takes all the backlash very well.
He was like, it was a mess up on our behalf. This won't happen again, and if something like this does happen again, we'll make sure, before it's announced, we'll make sure that there's, key accessibility. That if you own a key on Steam, it can be used on the Epic Game Store and stuff like this, and refunds will be available on announcement.
Yeah.
That's the stuff he's promising if it ever happens again, which is good. He's owning it, he's given a problem.
And that's the thing that we really need we need these companies to do that, and I think looking to them actually owning up to their mistakes is actually where we want to go, and we need to stop shitting on these companies when they're trying to fix these things. Just real quick, speaking on the same, Epic Games stuff, I was seeing people talk about how one of the biggest issues with Epic as well, taking these exclusivity deals, is making it so people that own the first game or the original game on Steam, when remakes and remasters come out, generally there would be a discount or
it's like, oh, you already own the game, so we're not going to make you pay full retail price for it again,
or you might get it for free or anything like that. because they're buying these exclusivity deals, though, it's kind of making it so these people, if they want to play the game again in this remastered version, this remake version, or like with these added bonuses,
they have
or
to go to the Epic Games Store and pay full price again.
And pay full price. And that is a shitty practice, but that still just goes back into what we said in the first place, which is maybe exclusivity isn't always the right way. Maybe just also allowing it on your platform is probably the better. Maybe get some stuff on there, but I think it's time to start, now that you've got all these exclusives, pull back a little bit and let them have a chance if they want to do exclusive, but just say, be on our platform, and we can be on both platforms, and it can work fine.
But in saying that, I think they are doing that. I think I remember reading somewhere that Tim Sweeney said that the whole idea of exclusives was because he needs to compete with Steam. It's the only way he could do it. And it's a sacrifice that he has to make at the start to make the change for the split.
That makes sense.
So pretty much he's saying that he's going to make the Epic Store kind of corner the market, force them into this bad place so other platforms make the change. And then he's going to kind of push off it and let everyone have everything again.
It's smart.
Once the change is there. So it's kind of like holding a gun to the platform's heads and going, change your split now, or I'm just going to take all of the games.
And well, if you look at, too, all the exclusivity deals only last like a year.
Yeah.
They're only like a year. So it's really not... You know... You're seeing a lot of shit at these... At Epic and stuff like that, but... they're actually trying to make the industry better for the people that are working. And I know a lot of people like to talk shit on developers and say they look at this money they're making, they're not caring about the consumers. But I'm just going to give you guys a little tip here. Consumers are never happy. I know this from personal experience, and I've seen countless people constantly shit on developers, no matter how good they do or how bad they do. And at some point, you have to think, what's going to make these developers want to put out games better and actually listen to people? Probably them actually being treated fairly and getting paid fairly and doing the things that they need to do.
No.
They don't need to do shitty practices if they're giving a way to be better.
If they're actually making, a profit. If they're not struggling and drowning in debt.
So developers having to deal with, these issues of needing to be able to make the money and stuff like that and making sure the product is good leads us into the next topic of gaming crunch.
Delicious, delicious gaming crunch. Your all-brand cereal, available now at Target.
Were you thinking of that joke all night?
Yes. I thought of it yesterday when we added it to the list. I was like, I'm going to make so many cereal jokes.
So, there's a lot of controversy in the gaming news world about this crunch. Like what we're talking about, these people that are trying to wait till last minute and force these games to be done and have all this thing ready because they want to make these time frames so they can actually get the money that's available only at certain times of the year when people are going to spend the money or when other games are coming out and they need to compete.
Yeah, so for people who don't know what crunch is specifically, it's a term they use in game development when you're nearing the end cycle of a game's development. You pretty much get the entire team on board and push them to the limit for the last few, I was going to say days, but it could be months, to just kind of give it their all just at the end. And that's the intent of it anyways.
That's the key word there is it's supposed to be
it's supposed
at the end.
It's supposed to be the final push if we kind of go, right, this is it guys, give it your all now in this last hurdle.
But what does it end up being instead?
For a few game companies out there, it ends up just being overworking your employees.
The whole development cycle.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you want to have happen, so you have them work on a million different things constantly.
Yeah. Like some employees are coming out and saying that they have worked, the better part of a year on a project just to find out that they're not going to be adding said project to the game anyways. And he's like, people saying that they've missed stuff with their children and they've been working 50-hour weeks.
At least
50 hours is probably the lowest number I've seen so far.
Developers have reported working more than 100 hours in a week just to get the game close to completion.
Yeah.
And it's due to the fact that these companies don't like I said before, they don't know what they want in the game, so they're having this happen at the very beginning of these like development cycles, and it lasts all the way until till the late stages because things are changing. And these game companies, instead of waiting until they have almost everything done and then deciding to announce the games, they're pretty much saying, "Oh yeah, this game will be out next year,"
Oh, yeah.
even though it's not even remotely close ready. Look at Anthem. Anthem was worked on for years, and it's hard to say that it's
A finished product.
yeah, well, it's hard to say that it was just crunch because they announced it sooner than they should have. The biggest issue was the fact that they were working on it for several years, but they put out an image of what they thought it was going to be when they thought it was ready, and once they did that and they saw how good that image wasn't actually where they were at all. That video that they had wasn't even what they had actually had planned. And when they started to make it to actually be like that, they started to run into issues where they actually like physically could not make it like that.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was they were crunching overtime to try and make it as close as possible, and trying to make it or at least good in a different way.
As close as they could get to what they showed while still making it good, kind of thing.
And what ended up happening is now you have Anthem, developed by one of the best RPG makers that have ever existed.
Yeah. In my opinion, the best. I'd put them over the likes of Bethesda even.
And then they're now probably in people's eyes one of the worst companies at the moment, because they allowed themselves to get bought out by EA, and now they just constantly are producing shit.
Yeah.
And it's because they're promising things that they can't keep, and then they're crunching, and no matter what, someone's working 100 hours a week, things are going to suck at the end of it. It's actually not going to make a better product.
Yeah.
It won't. And there's a reason for that. It's because you're overworking.
If you're working like 100-hour week, that's like a bit much, but I've seen a lot of developers coming out, like Todd Howard, coming out and saying, yeah, when you overdo it, like Todd Howard came out and he was probably the best
out of the
developer out all of them that came out, and he just put his hands up and went, yeah, we do it. We overworked our employees. It's a hard time, but it happens.
Right, and he that's says understandable.
Sometimes these are things that have to happen. Because he's like, you'll be working on a game, you'll be drip-drabbing along, it'll be fine. Then you get to the last 6 months. And that's when you have to go, right.
Look all these bugs
all of you have to do overtime just to get this done. To him, he's like, we don't do it to meet deadlines or anything like that. They just do it to make sure to give like a push. Like hard motivation.
Right.
It's the same idea. Probably a really bad example to use. The same idea of slave labor.
Yeah.
Right, where you put them into a tight box and you make them work as hard as they can to get out the other side of it.
Yeah, it's not a good practice, but sometimes it's understandable if it's not all the time, it's not constant, and it's just something that sometimes you have to have a little extra work put in.
Yeah.
If everybody's putting in the same amount of effort to help work on it, fine. And you have other like companies that have tried to be good about it as well. You have CD Projekt Red, who have said that they have had crunch times, and that they're working on improving, not being able to not having to do that as much, but also saying that they make those times optional, and they provide people the option to opt into that. It's not mandatory.
If you want to go and
work, if you want to work 100 hours, you can, and we'll, incentivize it.
Yeah.
But we won't force you to have to miss these. And if you need time off, we will give you the time off.
They're a great company for it. And I think Bethesda are going about it the right way as well.
They're trying,
they describe it. It's like they do it as well, but it's a thing that just happens. Rockstar have been quite silent about it, but they very much give off the vibe that they care about their employees.
Well, you look at Red Dead Redemption 2, and then you can say there's the positive things about that, but there's also way more issues in coming to the online that people had for such a long time with
but I think that was more so they spent too much time on the single player making it a masterpiece, and then wait, we forgot something, guys.
Yeah, I mean, but even if you look at the single player, you have a lot of people that which I was surprised that after they had played it for a while, they were like, you know what, I'm starting to notice these things that looked really polished in the beginning, but as you delve into it, which is always
It's
in
like
all
that in
Rockstar, every Rockstar game is like that.
Your first playthrough is always like, oh my god,
like
god.
GTA 5 is like one of those games you play it and you're like, wow, look at what they were able to accomplish. And then you play it for so long that you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
it's
and you look at
actually
little
really
things,
shitty.
like, yeah.
Really buggy, and I don't know how I never noticed that before, but at that point you've already played enough that you're like, yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah. But they push their employees, but every time they release a game, it breaks records.
Exactly.
You look at it in that sense, but then you look at games like BioWare, but some employees saying that for Anthem, that 8 months ago they started a crunch, 8 months before release, and employees saying they were working on things that didn't even look like a finished game, that the game wasn't near done.
Yes, exactly.
8 months and they were put on a crunch to do it to reach their deadline.
They did the same thing with Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
And you can say whatever you want. Like, this is what sucks, is because I love BioWare, but you can blame EA all day. But at the end of the day, BioWare is the one that's working on the game, and they're the ones that ultimately decide what they do and what they do with their employees. And if you're not doing things in the proper way and you're not focused on the right things and you're over-promising on things that you can't deliver, then it's... You know, Mass Effect and Andromeda, they talked about how that actually worked a bit with crunch. And you know what? The game came out and had its issues. They fixed the issues. They
probably crunched after that. They probably released the game and we're still working on it.
Well, they crunched to meet the deadline, and then they realized that they needed to keep working on it. They fixed some of those issues. It's still not a great game, but it's
a lot more playable than it was.
Yes, it's I would say it's a good game in the state that it is now. But you know what could have fixed that in the first place? Not trying to crunch and trying to force out stuff that wasn't ready to come out. And Anthem is a prime example of something that you had a game. Great concept, everything about it sounded cool. You didn't implement it, like you didn't take it and implement it well because you were trying to force out something that wasn't properly optimized and stuff like that. I would say the shell of Anthem is great.
Oh yeah.
Everything inside of that suit that you fly around in though is what's garbage at the moment.
Yeah.
Loot problems, enemy problems, like AI stuff, not having a lot to do, having buggy issues for stuff that like shouldn't be an issue in today's day and age.
I've seen a glitch where it's like if you kill a certain enemy and then loot the weapon it drops, that your game glitches and puts you up against the last boss. Like you glitch out and you end up in the last area against the last boss, which at that point you physically cannot kill. Exactly. And your game's just broken because you can't leave because it's a locked arena thing. So you just have to kind of restart your game at that point.
It's a mess that they need to fix, and hopefully that's why they've been quiet. But you know, this kind of real quick, I'll talk about how I read recently there was an article where they had the guy from No Man's Sky talk about how the way that they fixed everything was they were just quiet and didn't talk to anybody for at least 3 months, and then didn't talk to a news outlet for 2 years, and that's how they were able to make No Man's Sky better.
Yeah. Like
I personally don't agree with complete silence. I understand not talking to news people. I understand not like broadcasting everything, but I agree with. I believe that there needs to be a line of communication, and right now what BioWare is doing with Anthem, I don't agree with. You can't just be completely silent, talk to no one, and say, I won't say anything at all, and then we'll just work on the game, because what you're doing is you're going to lose all of your player base, because it's a game. It's not a game where you buy and then you can play at any point and still get the same experience. It's a game where it's a live game, and if no one wants to play it now, they won't come back later if they know what it is, and you won't have the same player base.
It's kind of like Destiny. If Destiny flopped in its launch,
right, which it didn't do great, but if it flopped,
it didn't do great, but it didn't completely crash to the extent that Anthem has. It hung on
and it talked about stuff.
It was more divisive in its nature.
Yes.
Some people really enjoyed the stuff that it had, some didn't, but it still had a core player base. So when they started to add expansions and updates, adding a bunch of more stuff to do, suddenly the people who played it initially still seeing the core player base and are like, you know what, I'll give it another go. and then played it to death.
And I think that's what it is you need to have some line of communication, at least with the players. And you don't have to, I don't think that you need to tell them everything that you're doing. If you're working really hard to get stuff done, you don't have to say every single thing, but you can't go radio dead silence and expect the outcome of that to be good, because your players are going to think that you're ignoring them. And that is going to just make them want to leave.
And don't give deadlines either.
Like, don't give deadlines. Don't make roadmaps for something if you're not going to follow through with it.
Yeah.
But at least say...
i.e. DayZ standalone.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You ever look at their roadmap?
I just want to point out that I played DayZ when it was an Arma 2 mod, and then I bought...
When it was good, you mean?
And then I bought the standalone and played it for a couple weeks, and then that was it.
No, I remember...
And it was...
I looked at their roadmap.
Just as buggy as the mod.
I looked at their roadmap and it was like, oh, we're going to add vehicles and animals sometime in like 2015. And it was 2 years later, I think, when they added vehicles.
It's just don't over promise and under deliver. I get that aspect, but you have to at least say something and say we're gonna fix this and then start working. That's all you need to say at least.
Yeah.
And constantly reassure people it's getting fixed.
Highlight the things you're gonna fix. Don't say when or how. Just say the problems you're gonna address. With Anthem, one of the developers literally just said, you know, they're 5 to 10 years. It's going to be one of those games that is beyond flushed out with content. And it's like, we don't give a crap if you're saying in 10 years it's going to be at its pinnacle.
We want to know
where it's going to be in the next 3 months.
We want to at least know that you're going to fix the issues that are there like now.
The stray issues.
Tell us you're going to fix it. Don't ignore it. Bugs. Say, I'm going to fix it. And then you can ignore everybody and start focusing on it. But tell people you plan on fixing it. Don't be quiet and then say, oh no, we're still interested in keeping the game running. Don't say that. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. That means you could mean that you're going to leave the game in the state that it is and leave it running. No, say you're going to fix the issues, move on, and that's it.
Do a Rockstar on it, online. Where it was released, everyone hated it. They went, don't worry, we're going to add some content. They list off like a bunch of random things that they said they're going to do over like the next 2 to 3 year period with it. And now they're at the point where every week they're adding a new multiplayer game mode. Every week they're adding new clothing items. And sometime over the next couple of weeks is the big summer update, which is adding like role-playing roles and like a bunch of like different like things to do. Pretty much by the end of the summer, it's going to be where you expected it to be at launch.
And that's, you know what?
And they just started just doing it. They're like, we're going to do these things, all right? And they'll come when they'll come.
Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with the fact that it wasn't out at launch, but at the same time, I can at least appreciate when it gets done.
Yeah,
and I think that's a problem a lot of gamers have nowadays is they don't know how to.
Wait.
you can be mad that it wasn't there at launch, and you can tell people like I agree these things should be done before they launch next time, and you should talk about that. But once it launches, don't just keep hating on shit because even though it's fixed now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like look at Fallout 76. You still have people that have never touched the game that say how it's still shit even with all the work that they're putting into it. But then you have the people that got to play for the free weekend. And I don't know how many posts I saw on Reddit of people saying, man, I really wish I wouldn't have listened to the hype. And it's like, and everyone would comment and saying the shit that people were saying at the beginning was pretty true. But a lot of people stuck out with it because they knew Bethesda was going to fix it because they kept saying, this is going to get fixed.
Yeah, we're going to fix it.
They didn't say how long. They didn't say anything specifically, but they said this is going to get fixed.
They just said it was going to happen.
And now the game is in a playable state, and
yes, it still has its problems.
Oh yeah, and it will because it's a Fallout online game that it's going to have its faults because it's also a Bethesda game.
Yeah.
But you have people that are like, man, I wish I wouldn't have listened to what people were saying. It's like, well, because you can't make a decision and then stick by it even when people are working on fixing their mistakes.
Yeah.
If people aren't working on fixing their mistakes, shit on them all day. But when people are trying to fix their mistakes, maybe have appreciation for that.
Yeah, just a little bit of appreciation. Respect where respect is given.
Exactly.
They respect you. Respect them. But I think we've ran that topic pretty dry. I don't think we can talk about crunching anymore, unless we crunch. Cody, should we crunch?
We should crunch. Let's crunch right now.
You want to crunch right now?
Let's crunch right now.
How do you crunch? Do I have to scream into the microphone like I'm going Super Saiyan?
No, I think you should just get on to the next topic.
Okay. Which is... Are you ready for a next generation console, Cody?
I'm a PC gamer, right? And I think with the advances that are being made to consoles, it's cool. There's going to be some interesting upgrades, but is it necessary for a next-gen console? Like, in terms of what's actually being upgraded? Probably not.
No. And you're not the only one. Some AAA CEOs out there have come out and have talked about their thoughts on the next generation of consoles. The Project Scorpio and PlayStation 5. And they've kind of went, well, not necessarily at the point where people are ready for it. That the current gen consoles are still in such a place where content isn't running dry anytime soon. The hardware isn't extremely outdated. It's not a case that games are suffering seriously because of development. So it's not a necessity to come out next fall, which I wouldn't 110% agree with, frankly.
Plus,
as someone who plays on console, like.
Plus, with the pro versions and the
that have only come out in the past few months,
that are still more than capable. The worst part about them is their the fact that they don't have a solid state drive, so the loading's not as good.
But it.
Overall, that's it. The power is there.
Yeah.
You don't need to have. If you want the power, you go PC anyways.
Exactly.
You're gonna release. We kind of talked about the console specs last week. Just addressing some of the stuff, but they're going to be strong. It's going to be like computer level, but it's probably going to be like $600 around that.
Probably.
Just to get these consoles. And are people ready for it when the only thing that they're going to get an improvement on really is
load times.
Like, and then 4K FPS will be a little bit better for the people that use 4K, which is nearly none.
Like they're going, these consoles will be 8K. It's like,
no one cares.
Why does that really matter, to be honest?
Yeah, no one cares about 8K.
I don't give a crap about 8K.
Barely anybody cares about 4K.
Yeah. It's like, if someone mentions 4K, I'm like, cool.
PC gamers, I would say only about 30% of PC gamers care about 4K for their PC, because monitors, and getting a 4K monitor is cheaper than a 4K TV, but it's still expensive. You could spend, decent money on a 4K monitor, but for a 4K TV to be able to run these consoles at
it's going to be a hell of a lot more.
The resolution, it's not cheap. Like, let me see if I can find what a price is real quick. Okay, so looking at just like a local store in Ireland, which isn't always a good frame of reference because Ireland's electronics
Harvey Norman's
are expensive.
Is across seas as well. I know Australia has Harvey Norman's.
Okay, well then this is a good example. Their prices aren't going to be like, it's going to be like kind of like a Best Buy if you're in the States. It's a little bit more expensive, but most people aren't going to order online a 4K TV and expect it to ship okay. Yeah. So you're probably going to go into a store regardless of whether you want to or not. And it looks like the cheapest I see right now is, okay, you can get a 49-inch smart LED TV, which is not bad. I don't know how good this actual TV is, though. If I were to
it's on sale at the moment as well. So at the moment it's €549.
It's on clearance, so almost 600 for a 49-inch. You'd think, okay, 4K, not bad,
but its base price is €900,
and it's probably not a good quality. Whereas even if you look at ones that you're actually going to get full HDR for what you want and stuff like that. Okay, here, like a Samsung. Yeah, we know it's a trusted brand.
49-inch 4K.
4K.
You know that's going to be a good TV when you buy it.
$1,400 on sale. That's
$1,700 wholesale.
I could get a 55-inch TV that's 1080p that would still look amazing and smooth for half that price.
Yeah, but you're looking at people who would be upgrading to next generation next year. They'd go, okay, I have my HD TV. Oh, it's 8K. Well, I'm gonna no point getting it if my TV can't support, at least 4K. So I need to go buy a 4K TV.
Right. So I'm gonna
they'll go online and they'll realize they'll have to spend.
So it's a 600 probably for the consoles. I'm gonna estimate
TV plus console. You're looking over $2,000. You may as well just round it to
and then
like $2,250 or $2,500 even.
Well, and then if you're getting controllers and games, like, yes, you're spending the price of a PC that could run anything.
Yeah.
That you throw at it.
On your console and TV.
Yes, you can use your TV for other things, but you can use a PC for everything as well. Like, you're looking at prices that, yes, our electronic prices have went down over the years, but it's not is it worth it? And that's what I think our questions are. Is it worth it to get these new gaming consoles? My opinion, I'm going to say no, not yet. I say we would have another year, at least to let these games kind of develop for those type of systems.
Let the consoles that we're currently on run their course, because they really haven't at the moment.
No, they still have games that are coming out with good frame rates.
Like a game I've been playing to death, freaking Sea of Thieves, the anniversary edition of it. But the actual playable content in it, it's great. Love it. That only came out in April. And I'm going to have a next generation console next year, which I'll probably be getting a sequel for Sea of Thieves on. I'm kind of going, but why? Why? And then you look at PlayStation, even though I don't own a PlayStation, you've got The Last of Us Part 2 and Death Stranding coming out next year. 2 massive games.
And yeah, why buy a new system just for those games? Like, yeah, they might look a little bit better, or maybe they have a little bit better performance, but
they're being built for the current generation.
Exactly.
Like Cyberpunk 2077 is being built for this generation of console. They've said it'll be on the next generation, I'm pretty sure, but it's for this one, so why would you just buy a next-gen console just for that?
It comes down to the fact that there's always what I've said is PC, and it's not just because I'm a PC Master Race guy, PC is always going to outperform in terms of performance consoles because they have the space, the room, they can make things, like anything can work well with each other and you can mesh certain parts together. Console is getting to that point where they're trying to just have console or PCs inside of your living room. That's fine, but at what point you make this? If you make these, what are you going to upgrade to next? Because our technology is already so high fidelity, you don't get much better than what it is. Like, and at least right now with what we have. Yeah. The only step up that you can get in terms of improved graphics, I honestly believe, is if you have these graphics playing out in front of you in like augmented reality. Yeah. Like, some of these games are only going to look so good and only going to have so much performance. We're running out of that technological leap that we had. Yeah. So, which was you were expecting. Your technology does plateau every couple of years. You know, there's a nice big climb where it's a constant every year. There's new stuff and it's getting better and better and better. But it does just flatten out at some point. It just happens everywhere, every time. But it's kind of like they're kind of pushing it to try to keep it going. I don't think it's gonna work well for them. Like, they release the next gen console. They don't make money on consoles anyway. So why spend the money to make these This is, you know what? I'll accept this as you know, these consoles when they come out. I'll accept them for their time, but I feel like this is it. Yeah, that's the last. You don't go anywhere else. I get that vibe as well, because you look at it, the next gen console is going to pretty much meet PC. And they're going to be at a point where they're going to be fairly even on the playing field. And they're going to be able to do whatever they need to do. And that's then in another 8 years, when it's time for the next generation of console, PC will be at a point where it's like, right, technology hasn't really jumped ahead all that much, but we're still doing a little bit better because the player can optimize their settings for games to run exactly how they want. Yeah. So you want to put X amount of processing speed towards this? You can do that. Like, micromanage your stuff. Exactly. A console isn't going to have the hardware to jump forward again. They can't release a whole new console and go, you can micromanage things. Exactly. You know, another €600, please. No one's going to spend money on that. It's not necessary. The only way around it I can see them going is if they release, obviously they can't call it PC or a console, but like a rig. Some sort of... So it's like you're buying a PC, but it's like an Xbox branded rig. But sure, they already have that. And it's like, oh, it's not a console, but it's not a PC. It's like if you want a PC without the complications of a PC. So if you want to have the extra bits that PC allows, and just get rid of it, but they already have these things. You know, they already have these type of things that you can do, and you can buy them now pretty much that do those things, and they set up. And you play games straight off of just like a Steam operating system. Yeah. Like there's like, I know that's what you have to, you have to think from a corporate, we'll need to make money off games perspective. And it makes no sense. And these companies are coming to an end, I think. And the next console generation is it, I believe. You're not going to have consoles of what you know as a console.
Yeah.
I agree at least with that standpoint.
I think come 2029, I think that'll be the point where they'll just kind of go, we're not making consoles anymore.
Everyone's making PCs.
And you kind of get that vibe.
But they sell controllers and stuff with it.
You
Yeah,
get
something
that
like that
vibe with the way Microsoft's going and stuff like that, focusing on subscriptions. And at that point, it's just going to be developers that are going to take over the gaming industry.
Yeah, because
they'll just decide everything.
You're only going to have, like, unless you just make a big giant Xbox-like console that has the cooling necessary to put in the speed and the power that you need into it. That's just a PC then. At that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, though I think what's going to come into maybe like an operating system or a sort of subscription service or something like that is what it's going to all tie into, where you have a sort of a service that it provides more than the console itself. And
you're not buying it for the hardware more so than the things.
Exactly.
That you can just do with it.
Buy Master Races will no longer have that. Come, I say, in the next 10 years.
So the console war will finally come to its conclusion. After so many years.
So, CD Projekt Red just wants to say, no, they're not already making Cyberpunk 2077 sequel. They never had that in the works. There's nothing that they said that you need to worry about when it comes to that. They're not cutting out content. They're not making a huge expansion already that's making stuff irrelevant in Cyberpunk 2077. It was a mistranslation with...
Of course, gotta love those mistranslations.
They basically, there's a Polish interviewer, like, website, business site that took information from CG Projekt Red, and people use a translation to just real quick look at it and see what it says.
Like, literally, they use Google Translate.
Literally. The auto-translation report suggested that as well as the main team making Cyberpunk 2077, another team were poking at multiplayer, and a third cyber crew were already working on the next game or expansion or expand-alone or whatever. CG Projekt Red said that's not right.
They literally went up and went, no.
Basically what they said is, we have a total of 5 teams working on a number of projects. 3 of those teams are focusing on Cyberpunk 2077 things. That's it. They're working on stuff related to Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, which literally just means there's 3 teams making a game.
Yeah, making a game. Maybe there's some DLC stuff that there were, like some bit of them is, but there's no one focusing on just that.
It's just like they're still in the concept stage at that point.
Exactly. It says where around 40 industry specialists are engaged in technology R&D. So it's still early stages if it's anything, and the rest of it is all working on the game itself. It also says that CG Projekt did not explicitly say that they weren't working on something multiplayer with Cyberpunk, but they didn't say that that's what it was.
They didn't say yes and they didn't say no.
But they didn't say no. So there's a chance that there's something kind of multiplayer related with Cyberpunk 2077, but it's not a big thing because only one small group is working on it.
A little bitty big group.
And then as for the other 2 CD Projekt teams, they are one's working on Gwent, and the other one is working on Spacco, which is an unannounced mobile project. I don't know what that's going to be.
I'm going to put my money down right now.
Okay, go.
And say that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to have a Gwent-style minigame.
And they're getting ready to release a mobile game version of it.
That come the likes of E3 next year when they show more stuff off for the game, and they'll go, and... here you go.
And it's probably something to do with hacking, I bet.
Oh, probably.
But it won't be a card game, but it will be something like...
you get me? I'm putting my money on that.
You're probably right there. But long story short, CD Projekt Red is not developing all new game, splitting their resources, working on these things. Stop worrying. It's not that big of a deal. Why does everyone jump to the worst conclusions? Use something better than Google Translate.
Exactly. I think we learned that with Tifa as well.
Yeah, the whole issue with Tifa and her breast. No one just actually said
don't
cut her breast
use
size
Google
down.
Translate. Get someone who knows the language.
Wait until someone who actually knows the language translates it. There you go.
But Cyberpunk 2077 isn't ruling everything out. It's not just a bunch of no's they're handing out. There's a yes as well.
Well, there's a maybe.
Well, a maybe.
Not a yes.
It's a yes to a maybe.
It's a yes to a maybe.
So with Keanu Reeves, coming into Cyberpunk 2077, big name.
Johnny Silver, I think his name is.
Yeah, it's Johnny Silverarm, isn't it?
Johnny Silverarm? I don't think is it Silver. I don't think.
I'm pretty sure it's Silverarm. It's like Silverarm or Silverhand.
Silverhand, Johnny Silverhand, Johnny.
It's Silver something.
Johnny, Mr. Silver guy.
It's Johnny Silverlimb.
I'll agree with you there. I'm not entirely sure. Sorry, we're not familiar with the Cyberpunk universe as much as we should be.
But yeah, but at E3 this year, Cyberpunk was fairly quiet. They were very quiet about everything because they don't like telling you things. But they have kind of said, with Keanu Reeves joining the star power, that the idea of a Cyberpunk movie isn't completely ruled out.
It's more of a possibility.
Saying that with him being on board, it creates the possibility of it happening. Quote, possibility.
They're not able to, there's an interview with the tabletop designer, Mike Pondsmith, and he wasn't able to say anything about the status of movie rights, which makes sense. If he's in the talks with it, they kind of have an NDA where they can't really talk too much about it, otherwise it could ruin the deal. So he hasn't said anything about movie rights status, but to me that sounds like they're attempting to try and find something that Keanu Reeves, and it might not be Cyberpunk 2077, but it could be a Cyberpunk movie with Keanu Reeves, maybe his character, Johnny Silverhand, I think his name is.
Instead of a movie about Cyberpunk 2077, more so a movie just based in the universe.
Which could be awesome, because the stuff that I've seen about Cyberpunk universe is so super cool so far.
They're pretty much serious going, if we make a movie, it'll just be a movie in this world. The same kind of aesthetic and style and rules. And
we'll have to see,
which would be pretty dope. Pretty dope.
We'll have to see, because it's still too early to decide, and we have to see how Cyberpunk actually does, and if the universe really resonates with people. But if it does, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'd say it'd be
to have an awesome action movie with Keanu Reeves. As he's getting really old, though, so we need to start pushing these projects that he's in a little bit quicker, because
gotta get him a bit faster.
He's doing good. He's still a really tough individual for his age, and he's still doing these cool things. But I don't want to get to the point where I have an old man that can barely walk around in these movies.
We don't want to get to the point where Expendables got to.
Yes.
But do you think it will mean will be good video game movie, though? If the game is good, do you think it'll be the first good video game movie?
I think I need to play the video game before I make a decision on that. Yeah. I think Keanu being in it will automatically make it better. Make it better than a 50%.
Yeah. But
how much better than that, though? It depends on who's directing it.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
But if we slap an Uno reverse card on that little statement and ask about movies made into games, it's a totally different story.
They still suck.
No, just kidding. They're usually atrocious, really.
I mean, video games into movies are usually atrocious too.
Yeah, it's like they can never make the transition just right.
Because the medium that it was developed for is usually the medium that it was meant to be for.
Yeah.
That's why it works.
But
bad.
In saying that, our Lord and Saviour, Bruce Campbell, you may know as Ash Williams from Evil Dead, has come out on Twitter and announced that a new Evil Dead game is being made. He tweeted, "Hey groovy gamers." Oh, I hate the fact that I just said that. This is a swell time to clarify.
Swell.
Some incorrect info that might be out there, including from me. I love Bruce Campbell. The upcoming Evil Dead video game is being developed for consoles and PC, not VR. Sorry for any confusion. Game on. He then hashtagged, "My boomstick is too big for VR. Hashtag Evil Dead the game." Now, he did tweet before this as well. Someone tweeted asking, are they going to make another Evil Dead game? Because apparently there's been 3 of them, I think, in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and they're all bad.
That were all terrible.
Of course. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, 2000, 2003, 2005. Prime time for movie video games.
Prime time to throw those all in the trash or buy them for 5 cents.
Exactly. Probably did buy them for 5 cents because they were made by THQ, as we know, went under.
Had never been doing good ever.
Yeah.
Pretty much since the 90s.
Yeah. But then Nordic Games bought those, so it's THQ Nordic now. And they're the ones who are going to be making this new Evil Dead game. which Bruce Campbell himself describes as, quote, whole immersive kind of dealio. The man talks like he's out of like a B movie. Even though he was in B movies, but him normally sounds like he's in a B movie.
It's probably all he's ever known, and all he ever does is just B movies, so he just speaks.
His best friend is Sam Raimi, so it's like...
What do you expect?
You expect it. It's the only reason he was in the Spider-Man movies. But for me, I'm crucially excited for this because I adore Evil Dead. It is a love of mine.
I haven't seen Evil Dead in years, and I was taken off guard because I thought that it was supposed to be a scary movie.
Oh yeah,
originally. Yeah, and when I was watching, I was like, "This is hilarious."
And the first one is probably the scariest out of all of them,
and I still
says
what
a lot.
Which I wouldn't call scary by any means, but yes, it is the most kind of serious.
And then you got Army of Darkness, which was just
off the wall.
Yeah. But if I get an Evil Dead game that's an original story, especially after the TV show and everything that happened, that was cancelled, sadly.
Oh, it was cancelled?
It was cancelled, yeah. Made me cry a lot. With that, I'm hoping they'll do like an original story with Ash Williams, some Evil Dead madness, and just have it wacky and off the wall. I think it'd do really well.
I mean, even if it's a bad game, it'll do well because...
Bruce Campbell did confirm that he will be voicing Ash in it as well. So...
It'll be... I'm guaranteed it'll be like a cult hit for...
Oh yeah, it'll be one of those...
For people that are fans of the
kind of
movies.
like the Evil Dead movies, just kind of cult hits.
Yeah, it won't break
it won't break
any records.
It won't make money.
And it probably won't be great, but it'll be
one of those games you play and it'll just be fun to play, even if it's bad. You're like,
at least for like a few hours.
Yeah, it's like the B movie game. You ever play that?
No, because the B movie was like a D movie.
Did you intend that to rhyme?
I didn't, but it just kind of flowed because it's such a bad movie, and the game is.
I'm moving us on to the next topic right now before you insult B movie anymore.
Magic: The Gathering. Everyone knows it. Everyone loves it. Just kidding. That's probably not true. But
wait. Magic with a C.
With a C, like normal magic is spelled.
Magic.
Yes, magic.
Not magic.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
If you don't know what it is, it's a classic 90s card game. It's recently moved... Well, it's not recently. It's been on... There's been Magic: The Gathering Online, and that's always had its own player base. But now you have Magic: The Gathering Arena, which at the moment is free. It's still in beta, but it'll be out later this year, completely full. It'll officially launch. And... basically all this stuff like transition to this Magic was bought, like Wizards of the Coast was like bought and owned by Hasbro, and they've been seeing massive returns on it. They always have seen good amount of revenue from it because people have always kind of played it, the last 30 years.
Yeah, it's
been played by tons of people.
But me.
Since they've been brought it on Magic: The Gathering Arena, they've been making it a little bit more accessible to people. People have been talking about it a bit more. People have been streaming it. The events have been streamed a little bit more. We've come into this world. It's becoming, the game itself is becoming more and more popular. According to what Hasbro says, about 38 million people have played at least one round of Magic. You are one of them. You've played at least one round. I've taught you how to play at least one game when I first came to Ireland.
I actually remember that. I forgot that.
And apparently Magic: The Gathering Arena will be drawing a huge crowd because it's doing, which I've played the game. I was introduced to the beta. I was able to get, I was one of the first people into the beta. Really cool. I love being part of beta stuff so I can kind of give my impression.
Because he is a beta.
Most definitely not.
You walked right into that one.
I will ignore what you said and I'll continue with what I'm talking about. At least 20 million one-time players of the card game have lapsed, according to Hasbro, into playing Magic: The Gathering Arena or starting to play games again, which happens. I've been in and out of Magic for the last 11 years. They're part of a potential market for the online game, they say, and there's going to be nearly 3 million active users of it by the end of this year, according to Keybane estimates. I'm assuming it's some sort of estimation company for business and stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently that number could swell to nearly 11 million
Jesus.
by 2021, according to its bull case scenario, especially if it expands from PCs to mobile, which...
Oh yeah, if it goes mobile, it will just explode.
If Magic goes mobile, there's never been a really good Magic mobile game that has came out yet. They haven't like really expanded to that market. If it goes mobile, they will make millions.
Oh yeah,
because Magic the Gathering Arena is really well done. It has enough cards and they keep releasing more cards that it's there's a reason to involve yourself constantly into it. Right now it's free, but you can pay to get packs, or you can unlock packs by playing more games,
which is good.
It's going to continue to do good, I think, and I keep seeing like Twitch streamers and stuff playing it more and more.
Yeah,
and
I've been
for these
seeing
events.
it like a hell of a lot more. Like when I go on YouTube to watch, YouTubers and stuff, my recommendation, I'll see stuff about Magic Arena, be it an ad or one of the YouTubers I watch is playing it, and I'm like, it's piquing my curiosity. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's allowing people that have been interested too in these type of games to kind of actually get into it real quick and understand the mechanics a lot quicker and play some games online without actually having to meet up with people. Really cool. I just want to talk about that a little bit because I'm into Magic, and I find that it's interesting that even after 30 years, it's still going strong. But on talking about going strong, we are no longer going strong.
No, we are not going strong.
It is...
Wait, we were going strong at one point?
Doubtful.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys can let us know if we were going strong.
Let us know if we're going strong. And who's going stronger.
It's obviously me.
Obviously me.
We appreciate you guys listening. That's another week of this podcast down.
That is the third episode we've recorded.
Technically, yes.
Technically, yeah.
Technically, this is the second episode.
Second official episode, but third episode in total,
episode.
Counting the pilot.
If you want to count the times of us re-recording, it's technically the fifth.
Yeah.
I think, Kyle, I think we're doing it.
I think that's actually happening.
I think that we might become the best podcast in the world.
Ooh. Definitely in Kildare, anyways.
That is probably true. If you think that we're the best podcast in Kildare in Ireland, then let us know, and we will continue to be putting out amazing content every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
5 p.m. Ireland time.
And thank you guys so much for listening to us.
We appreciate you. We love you. You're beautiful. And we hope you have a lovely week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.